Jennifer Crumpton, and I am an ordained minister in the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, a pastoral associate at Park Avenue Christian Church here in New York City, and also the author of Femmevangelical, which you can find on pathos.com and also femmevangelical.com. And the Femmevangelical concept is really sort of a spiritual quest that I went on not long ago and still continue to this day. I was raised fundamentalist evangelical in the Bible Belt in Birmingham, Alabama, and went on a really long spiritual journey to find what I felt was a more truthful spirituality. And I ended up going to seminary at Union Theological Seminary in New York City and learning a lot about progressive Christianity. And it seemed to fit a lot better with my personal values in that it was very inclusive, very respectful of women. Women can work in high positions in the church or be the lead pastor. And also the inclusion of LGBT folks, and a sort of a spirituality that really looks deeply at what it means to be human and to really love your neighbor. So that really started to appeal to me. And as I kind of took that a little bit further and thought about how my spirituality is manifest as a young, autonomous, educated, professional woman in the modern day, I just had a really hard time reconciling a lot of the religious tradition of my youth with my experience in daily life today. And it started to occur to me that a lot of young women probably feel the same way. It's just really complicated to be a Generation X, Y, or Millennial Christian, or really a person of any faith of our generation, and to be able to figure out how to bridge the gaps between antiquated and ancient doctrines, a lot of the ways of thinking of the faith that we were raised in, and our actual experience today in the 21st century and our life journeys that can be so complex. And so as I started thinking about how women are supposed to grasp onto a faith tradition which is so patriarchal, to a biblical scriptural tradition that has so many problematic passages and so many problematic interpretations that bring very ancient ways of being into the modern day and expect us to continue to live by those rules, which so often seem arbitrary and don't really seem to mean much in our lives today, other than the fact that they can very seriously oppress women. It occurred to me that we really have to, even in the most progressive churches, we have to really watch the things that we bring forward, even in hymns, prayers, anything that we do as a church body, and even outside of the church in our own personal spiritual lives and prayer lives. It's so easy to keep getting caught up in that old language, which is so male-dominated and often difficult for women to really relate to. We have to come up with another language, in essence, another way of describing the God that we know as females, the God that respects us as females and who meets us and has communion with us as the unique women that we are. So Femmevangelical really starts down that path. It's kind of experimental because, to be honest, and as a pastor, I like to say this a lot, I don't always know the answers. And I wish more pastors would say that. But I don't feel that I'm necessarily supposed to know the answers, especially for other people. I'm supposed to guide people into their unique relationship with the God who created them. But the catch is that if you are to fully believe in a God who is your creator, then you also have to believe in yourself. And you have to trust that still small voice that is in you to make your decisions and to guide your life and to guide your spirituality and your relationships with other people. And so often young women are not taught to believe in themselves. And especially when it comes to the Christian tradition, we're taught to wait for God. We're taught to try to seek out God's will, but it's this process that's very mysterious and elusive. And a lot of times it puts us off, especially if we're raised this way, from learning how to make our own decisions as a person, from knowing who we really are, from figuring out what we really want, what our calling is in the world, what we're interested in, what turns us on. It keeps us from imagining all the different things that we could be and do in this world, because we're supposed to be seeking the will of God as Christian women. And over a lot of trial and error, I learned as a person, and I teach today as a pastor to young women, that God is within you. God is that voice inside of you. Everything that you need to know who you are and to know what your path should be in this world is already inside of you. God has put that there, and especially if you are a person of faith, whatever faith that is, then you already have invited God into your life, and she's there with you all the time. So the decisions that you make, those gut instincts that you have, that female intuition that feels so strong, you can rely on it, you can depend on it. And this is a very legitimate way of communing with God and praying, and a good place to start with really leading a spiritual life that makes sense to you and that empowers you and that uses language that means something to you. And I fully and truly and completely believe that that's what God wants for us. So I just want to invite you here on a regular basis. I will be here talking about different topics in my Femmevangelical blog on Pathos, and also at femmevangelical.com. I talk regularly about how faith and female spirituality intersects with entertainment, politics, religion, business, economics, academics, everything that you can think of. It's all a part of our spirituality, and we really need to interrogate it. We need to interrogate popular culture. We need to interrogate what our politicians are telling us. As we learned in the 2012 presidential election, a lot for women still hangs on the line, and religion is often used as a tool, some sort of demented proof point to try to keep us from having our full equality. In the United States of America in 2013, that religious jargon is still being used. So the more that we can interrogate the landscape that we live in, the more we'll be able to fight for our freedom, and the more spiritual undergirding we have as a community of women, the more strong and empowered we'll be. So again, I just invite you here to talk about all these different topics. Feel free to leave me comments and ask me questions, and I really look forward to getting to know you.